Greetings, my lovely friends. Welcome to our family vlog of our most recent trip. We went on the Norwegian Breakaway cruise ship, left out of the port of Miami. And it was great fun. Me, my son, and my husband, you can see us in the car, laughing, talking about what we're going to do and all the fun that we're going to have. At this point, we made it to the airport in Detroit, where we were going to take our flight. And one of the for us, one of our favorite things to do is have coffee at Ely Coffee in the Detroit International Airport. And if you are from the Detroit area, you're in the know. You know that coffee is fabulous. We also had fun just sort of people watching, and my son loved the colored lights on the moving walkway that the airport has. Here you see pictures of my husband and son and myself as we were preparing to line up to get onto the airplane. And our day started really early because we had to drive down to Detroit. And then we made it to the Detroit airport, got on the plane without any problems, had very comfortable seats. The folks were very kind. All the stuff that was going on during the time of our travel where people were being canceled from their flights and things caused a lot of anxiety. But for us, we were very, very blessed and fortunate. We had no issues whatsoever flying in on Delta. Although the Norwegian Cruise Line did take care of our flight arrangement, so everything went very, very smoothly. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle when we were trying to get to the hotel from the airport, waiting for the hotel shuttle, which was kind of a nightmare. They never showed up, so we eventually just got a cab to drive us there so I can meet the rest of my family. So as you can see here, we made it safely in one piece. People were still smiling. We had a good time. We were very, very happy. Couldn't wait to see my family. We were staying at a hotel not far from the cruise port, which was kind of in between the cruise port and the airport. So it was pretty convenient for us. We went out for a lovely Japanese noodle dinner at a Japanese restaurant right across the street from where the hotel was that we stayed in prior to boarding the ship. And everyone enjoyed the ramen. I mean, the ramen was on point. I've had good ramen, but wow, the broth for this, I mean, you can only do so much with noodles, right? But the broth for this stuff, I mean, it was fabulous for the adults. And as you can see, the kids, everybody loved that ramen. So that's what we did. And then we went back to the hotel, got some sleep, woke up the next morning, as you can see now, preparing to load the van to head on over to the cruise port. Now, that process actually really was pretty smooth. They had a van that took us directly from the hotel to the cruise port. We didn't have to worry about parking, navigating the roadways. None of those things were an issue for us. And it was quite nice to experience not having stress when you're trying to travel. Because as you know, traveling, you kind of have to also pack your patience, because if you don't pack your patience, you will have a miserable time from day one. And that's not what we wanted to do. And this cruise was very special because it was my mother's very first cruise, my son's very first cruise, my aunt's very first cruise, my cousins and her children. All of them were first time cruisers and also flying for the first time, or at minimum, flying within the last 30 years. So this was all new to them. So it was really exciting to have the opportunity to spend time with them and laugh and tease one another and just get together, because they live in Philly and I live in Michigan, in Battle Creek area. And so we don't get to see each other very often. So for me to be able to share this experience with my family and my son and his cousins. We just really had a good time. But as the video goes on, you're going to see my Aunt Sabrina. We're 11 years apart. We're more like brother and sister than we are like nephew and aunt. But we just go at it with one another all the time, and it's always in love. So when you don't see her smiling, that's just her. It's not that she's not having a good time. She's actually having a fabulous time. So anyway, here we are on the in the van heading to the port. And so, of course, I sped the video up because it's just, I would be talking all day long. So the port itself, the actual NCL port in Miami, it is beautiful. It's all glass. You can see the ship right through the glass. The port is very long. So if you are somebody who requires some support in terms of walking, do yourself a favor and make sure that you rent yourself a scooter, not just for the port, but also when you're on the ship, because obviously the ship is quite long and you will need to do a lot of walking. And my mother was very, very smart with getting one for this trip. So we all were able to enjoy all that the Norwegian Breakaway had to offer. Now, here you see the lines. Even with the lines, they were never long lines, or let me rephrase it. They were long, but you weren't in line very long. Once we started getting through the boarding process, we were on the ship within minutes. And as you can see here, the kids are all excited. I'm excited. You know, my mother's excited. Everybody's happy. Because like I said before, this is a first time experience. And for us to enjoy this as a family, you know, it's going to create memories for the rest of our children's lives. And of course, the rest of my life and my mother's life. And we're going to look back on these moments and remember them with a smile and say, hey, you remember when we went to Central America together for the very first time? I travel often. My husband and I and my son, we travel often. But my cousins, they don't necessarily travel as much or get a chance to travel outside the country. So this particular trip was something that none of us had done before, in the sense that none of us have been to the Western Caribbean. I had never been to Belize. I had never been to Honduras. I have never been to Cozumel or, you know, any of those places. So we were experiencing it together for the first time. And these images here are really spectacular for me because those are the moments we, you know, stepped onto the ship itself. And man, was that exciting. Wow. The laughter, the joy, the staff was so welcoming. They were clapping and everybody was just happy. Here we are having our very first meal together. I believe it was at Savor, but it's either Savor or Taste. The two restaurants, they're right across from one another on the Breakaway, and they serve the same menu pretty much. So that was our very first meal together. And as you can see, we just laughed and joked and fellowshiped with one another. It was great joy. And it's something that I think when you eat with family, that especially if you don't get to see your family very often, it fills a void that's in one's heart. And I'm sort of a sentimental kind of guy, you can probably tell now. So I love family and I love that time. Here you can see the view, actually, that was right outside our dining area, which was quite lovely. I had the pork chop. Oh my God, it was so delicious. And then, you know, there was just all kinds of food. You know, the kids had burgers and fries and whatever else they have. But anyway, yeah, it's Savor is the first restaurant we ate at. But we ate at Savor, Taste, the Manhattan Room, Ocean Blue. We also ate, where else did we go? Oh, the gelato shop I stayed at. We ate at Oceans, which was also the pub. You'll see that a little bit later. So there were lots and lots and lots of fun places to go, things to see, food to eat. So I'm going to stop talking and let you enjoy some of the images of just my family being goofy. This video is made primarily for my family, but I'm sharing it via social media for anybody else who may be thinking about going on the Norwegian Breakaway. Perhaps something that you see in this video might inspire you or, give you some information that you were not able to find elsewhere. But I'm going to stop talking and let you enjoy. And I'll be back a little bit later in the video. Take care. Bye-bye.
The real truth of Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Love is told. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.